recognizes the gentleman from Colorado's 8th District for 5 minutes for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Ranking Member, and of course, thank you, Secretary Wright. So good to see a fellow Coloradan here, not the least of which being I'm going to try to squeeze in 4 questions so I don't have to lay out for you the situation in Colorado. So straight to the first question. We know that in the part of the state that I represent, we've got a lot of oil and gas workers drilling. Can you talk about how the department, your department, can work with that existing workforce to increase projects that are happening around geothermal and that baseload generation from geothermal power?
Yes, and again, great to see you, Congressman Evans. I appreciate your service. Yeah, the next generation geothermal that's coming along right now, we used to call it hot, dry rock. Now they call it enhanced geothermal systems. It uses oil and gas technology, uses shale well technology to drill into dry rocks that don't have any hydrocarbons in them, but are just hot, and inject drill and frack wells, inject water into it, flow it through the rock, and produce them out of other wells. So it's very much the same kind of training and work phase as people working in oil and gas in Colorado. In fact, the same companies are not only could, but they're interested in developing that next generation geothermal resources. Colorado has these resources in place. There's a 400 megawatt project under development in neighboring Utah. But can that also happen in Colorado? Absolutely. And if that activity starts to go, is there a workforce that's excited and willing to go into that? Absolutely. Will a number of those come from the oil and gas industry? I'm sure they will.
Great to hear that. Next question. You know, unfortunately, we know that there's an epidemic of premature retiring baseload generating stations. Colorado alone accounts for 10% of the baseload power in the nation that's forecast to come offline this year. And so while we know we need to reverse that trend, we also know that there are certain bottlenecks and regulatory barriers to being able to get the dispatchable baseload power that we need. So for the present moment, can you speak to the importance of variable power, wind and solar, coupled with battery to meet the energy demands of the present moment?
Yeah, so look, solar has made tremendous technical progress, in the last 10 years, and I think continues to do it. So if, for example, if you're an island energy grid and you're getting your power from diesel, and you could supplement that with solar, you can burn less diesel, you can drive down your electricity costs. In domestic United States, where we can pull from all different energy sources, solar has applications in some areas and below a certain penetration level. But until you can get multiple days of energy stored, it's going to be a supplemental energy source. But in summertime, where peak demand is near the end of the day, if you have solar panels there and you have a few hours of battery storage, you can move that late afternoon electricity into the peak demand time before people go to bed. So it can play a role, and without subsidies, you'll get wiser decisions about where does it make sense and where does it not make sense. So nothing in what I've said to get rid of these subsidies says get rid of the technology. Solar's going to be around. It's going to be around for the long run, and I think it continues to grow. But even in an optimistic scenario, it doesn't likely ever get to 10% of global energy. Not just electricity is just one slice of energy. But I think solar has a future, and any technology with a future can survive and should survive without subsidies. 25 years maybe is enough.
Thank you. And then let's see, we got 1 minute and 4 seconds left. So the United States hasn't tested a new reactor design in close to 50 years, nuclear reactor design. President Trump recently expressed desire to see a test by July 4th, 2026. What can Congress do to provide you and the department with the resources needed to expedite the testing of a reactor for commercial use by 2026?
Yeah, so our goal there is at the Idaho National Laboratory, which is our sort of commercial nuclear lab in Idaho. They've got a lot of land there and a tremendous amount of just fantastic scientists. And there are commercial businesses that have new reactor designs coming up. We want to get them into our test containment vessel and run them. So I think building nuclear as more of a bipartisan issue in this Congress has been helpful. Look, to really unleash nuclear going forward, the NRC has got to become more efficient and more sensible in regulations. We've got to get, if you approved your reactor design and it's a small modular reactor, you're going to build the same reactor. You can't have to start from new every time. You just got to evaluate the new site location. So common sense permitting reform at NRC is helpful, and that's certainly under the jurisdiction of this Congress, but we're working it at the administration level as well. I've got some optimism there, Representative Evans, but yes, it's going to take us all working together.
And the gentleman's time has expired and yields